Okay, welcome to part 4 of cleaning and pressing Izzy's books. So I know he's excited to own this, especially after the last episode of X-Men 97. And I did a quick review of some of the issues with the book. One of the things I noticed now that I didn't notice a couple days ago is the book is slightly out of a line. If you see, those pages are slightly higher than the cover. So before I steam and try to press out some of the imperfections in this book, I want to try to get this book back to square, because this book's not square. It's not going to grade as well. It's not going to present as well. So I'm going to try to fix that first. Okay, out of the bag, maybe you guys can see it a little better. Just slightly out of a line. You know, it's a similar fix to like a spine roll. Doesn't always get it perfect, but it definitely gets it better. And the trick isn't really about steaming the cover for this application. It's more about steaming the pages or the centerfold to make this book pliable. So it wants to shift a little bit so that when you press it, it presses back to where it originally should be. All right, so I'm going to start by adding a lot of moisture and humidity to the centerfold. You see, like, the book is already looking like it's getting looser. So, with that being said, I'm taking a backer board, I'm getting it here. This is the tricky part, because you're not going to be able to see the back of the book. You're only going to be able to see the front of the book when you're trying to align it. So, off to the press. Okay, so for this application, I'm going to let this book hang off the press. I know that might sound strange because you're only pressing part of the book, but it's by design. And what I want to do is try to pull this gently back into place before I apply the pressure on the spine. So I got it good right about there. Double check it before I lock it down. I think we're good right there. And I'm just going to give this about 5 minutes. I mean, that's all it's going to take, because I am going to re-steam this cover and I am going to repress this book. But before I do that, I just want to get it straight and square. So at least one problem is fixed before I move on to the next. Okay, I've taken it out of the press. Let's see if I've corrected this at least a little bit. You can see it's still not perfect. It's definitely improved it a little bit. And one thing I want to show everybody is, like, the inconsistency these books are printed is just mind-blowing. So this is my copy of 266. And I was looking at this one, seeing like this corner, and sometimes the artwork looks like a bad corner. So in this case, I looked at my own. You see this whole little patch of brown here? His book doesn't even barely have it except a little edge. So it's making that corner look like it's worse than it is. But hopefully these graders know that that's art and it's not a blunt corner. And I just thought it was amazing how much of this page is missing from one book to the other. And then on the top, you can see how close my uncanny is to the edge. And he's got a little bit of space. So it's just, you know, a little bizarre. All right, so before I apply any steam to this cover, I want to just clean it up a little bit. So there's a lot of white. It's got light soiling throughout, but we'll work on that. All right, so I'm going to start with my Absorbing sponge. Just give this a once over. little blunt edge there. And it'll come out with some steam. Like I said, I don't like going crazy on color with this, because if you use it a little too hard, it will take a little color off. But the soiling's mostly around the edges. A little bit of a something stain or something there. Making sure the end is clean. Before I start anew. Think this is boring, you could always fast forward through it, but I do want to give it a good clean and show everybody what I do. Right. Cotton round. Get any of that schmutz off. Eraser residue, etc. Still see there's like slight soiling on the edge. Before I flip this, I'm gonna go get some new paper under this, because there's all type of eraser residue under it, and I don't want to flip the book onto residue. All right, get these out of here. Now, it's not a ton of white, but there is a little bit. And I only like using this on white because it will lighten color a little bit. The front just seems a lot whiter than the back, so must have been how it was stored at some point, not in a poly bag, because the cover does seem very white compared to the back. Okay, due to the decent amount of imperfections in this, it's going to require a decent amount of steam. You know, there's like imprints in the cover, spine ticks. You know, not terrible, but it's a decent amount of them. Even on the back here, you can see some dimpling right here. And you got these spine ticks along the back. So I'm gonna steam both front and back pretty good to try to get as many of these out as possible. Try not to burn my hand in the process again. A little bit to the inside. Parchment paper on the inside cover now, so I'm not fighting with it later. Get in there. Okay, so the one thing I do want to point out is it's got this little fold. Sometimes you got to help these suckers along before you lay it flat, or they will not lay flat. Okay, sandwich ready to go. Okay, it's preheated to 160. And one of the things I would tell anybody that's trying this for the first time, more pressure isn't always good. It's almost never good. So if you have a clamshell, swing away, whatever it is, this is a swing away. So when I'm lowering this, right, if I gotta use two hands and put a little body weight into it, it's too tight. So I want to loosen it. To the point where I could push this down with just a tiny bit of force. That's it. Not where I gotta, and you feel it click when you put it in. Way too much pressure. You're gonna cause spine stress on the book, and spine stress is bad. So I'm gonna leave this in for about 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna let it cool down. Since it's early in the day, I don't have to let it sit overnight, but I'm gonna let it sit probably good 3 hours, so it's completely cool. Because I'll show you in my next video what happens if you take it out too early. You'll get ripple effects from the moisture, and we don't want that. Okay, moment of truth. Cover looks good. Obviously there's a couple ticks that I can't fix. And I just don't know about this corner. It's so hard to tell with that artwork. Back. Don't see a tick on it. Actually looks nice. Like I said, a little bit of soiling, but looks pretty good. I think that front and back bottom corner just has a little bit of something to it, but it's nothing that I could fix. It's just wear. So that is the finished product. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, click that like button for me and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, so you could see more pressing and cleaning videos that I do in the future. And I'll see you guys next time. I could do this all day.